All right, so it is the Warrior. It is that the Kit Kat's deck, and he's going to be coming out with that. Alex draws a Cleave. I mean, I feel like the Cool Master, Taskmaster, the Cleave, and the Slam are all really good cards to have in your hand, and he is going to keep all three. You're going to mulligan your entire hand, 2 kill commands, and a Hunter's Mark. Now, probably not feeling too happy about that, are you? Or I mean, what do you think about this opening hand?
Sort of. I mean, I think the way that I approach this match from the Hunter perspective is that I want to draw Savannah Highmane, and I want to draw it no matter what. So the only card I'm actually keeping in my opening hand is Flare and Tracking and Savannah Highmane. I'm literally going to mulligan everything else. Now at the point I've drawn Savannah Highmane, I'm still thinking the exact same thing. I only want to draw Savannah Highmane. So I'm actually going to mulligan the rest of those cards to try to find a second Savannah Highmane. And that's how critical I actually believe it is in this matchup.
Okay, wow. Now, I mean, you know, what does he really do here? It's probably just going to be the Slam. I mean, he probably wants to get rid of that. Doesn't really want to take any more damage.
Slam is definitely the easiest way to deal with it, but I'm not entirely opposed to a cool Taskmaster and Execute, but I think Slam is almost certainly a better choice.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like just using the one card when you get rid of it that simply seems like it does make a lot of sense. I mean, there's obviously other ways you can go about it, but the Slam seems like the most straightforward option. You know, and I mean, obviously you could be greedy and try to get value out of the Cleave or something like that, you know what I mean, and wait for another minion to come down, but I feel like you're just risking taking too much damage. And
right.
I think that definitely is kind of a pretty straightforward play there. And I don't foresee him using the coin to do anything, you know, coin armor up or anything like that. Doesn't make sense. So that's going to be the full turn. And turn 4 now. I'm assuming you're just going to go for the Tracking. Yeah, it looks like that's exactly what you're going to do. So a Tracking here, and now, I mean, you see the Explosive Trap, the Flare, and the, I mean, is it just the Kodo? Is the Kodo the obvious choice here? Yeah, or are you thinking, you know, Explosive Trap maybe get some value? But Kodo seems like pretty obvious, especially against Packmaster, Acolyte, so on and so forth.
Right. I think Kodo is a pretty obvious choice, all things considered. Like the Flare doesn't really do anything except dig a card deeper, and Explosive Trap is there strictly as sort of a utility tool against Zoo Warlocks. Something that I anticipated a bit more showing up in this tournament than they seem to have actually done.
Yeah, we've only seen one Zoo match. It was Trump, right?
Yeah. So this turn from him normally would look to be okay for me, but he actually has a Cruel Taskmaster here. Oh, but he chooses not to Cruel Taskmaster.
Interesting. Coin for the armor up seems like a bit of an odd choice.
Yeah, curious about that. So this ends up biting him, of course, that Kodo.
Yeah, because he could have had 2 card draws, and then, I mean, that would have put some hesitation in using that Kodo probably. I mean, he may have still done it regardless, but would have been a lot better of a turn there. So interesting that he decides to go with the armor up instead of that. And I mean, he is going to be getting himself up to a pretty huge armor total, which is nice, but the extra card draw definitely would have been something he wanted. And I mean, now having the Savannah Highmane, are you worried about playing it into this high of an armor total?
It's certainly something I'm concerned with, and naturally given by my hesitation. My only real options are whether or not I want to use a kill command to try to shred his entire armor away, or use Savannah Highmane. I think that at the end of the day, Savannah Highmane is probably still a better choice, because not only does he have to kill this Savannah Highmane really efficiently, but he also has to follow up on it really efficiently as well. So I think worth the risk, all things considered.
Now, I mean, I'm guessing he's going to go Taskmaster, Execute on your Highmane, and then play the Cleave, and just try to hope to take out some of the hyenas with that. I mean, you could also do, you know, the War Axe instead, something like that. But I mean, I think the Cleave, you're not really going to get any better value than you are right now. So it seems like the pretty obvious play there. And it is going to be the Cleave, so actually, the gods are on his side today, man. You're going to be able to take out both of those. Is definitely very ideal. And now, I mean, sitting with your hand here, you're starting to have quite a bit of damage there. I mean, you have 10 damage from the kill commands. You have the extra damage from the Boar, the Steady Shot. I mean, at what point are you starting to think, you know, just kind of go for the face?
At this point, the game,
You're just trying to save those for lethal, basically?
Right, I think it's more about just applying pressure. And then I'm actually sort of sitting in a position of needing to draw cards from the top of my deck, waiting for something like a Buzzard, or for him to overcommit to the board and me draw Unleash. That's also a very good play that can happen. But my hand it's hitting almost a critical mass point where if I can put together the right string of draws, I'm going to be able to draw a strong portion of my deck and then also follow it up with a lot of strong minions.
Yeah, and I mean, I think he's basically kind of sitting on that Grommash so he can Grommash Whirlwind this turn. I would imagine that's what he wants to do. Because, I mean, I think playing Baron Geddon that just kills off your Taskmaster seems kind of not that worthwhile. I feel like That's what I was expecting, but I guess he doesn't want to ever miss the armor up. Do you think that's the thought process there? Just never miss the armor up?
Yeah, I think armoring up's really critical, especially given the way that I've been playing so far.
Yeah.
All I've been doing is using my hero power and passing.
Okay.
I think from his perspective, his perception of my range right now includes a lot of Unleash the Hound's Buzzard combos, so he's very reluctant to develop his board at this point.
So the first kill command comes out. Now, what's the hesitation on the second kill command here?
Alex Straza
Okay.
is purely the only thing I'm worried about at this point. So if I use this second kill command and he has
heals
something
back
like
up?
Alex Straza, it could potentially put him just high enough to where he's able to restabilize the
Okay.
game. So I want to give him no incentive to play Alex Straza instead. So that was the goal behind that play.
All right, so he's now considering the Grommash. I mean, he has the Slam, he has the Whirlwind. He could use that to get out, but
What now?
you know, I think that really he doesn't have a lot of great plays. I mean, he could play the Black Knight if he really doesn't want to play the Grommash. Playing Baron Geddon just doesn't seem to make sense when you have the Taskmaster on the field and that can kill it off, unless you want to do something like a Whirlwind Baron Geddon or something, you know, and take out the Crocolisk. Or, I mean, you could obviously trade the Taskmaster into the Crocolisk and then Baron Geddon, be able to take it out that way, do that plus an armor up, or even, I mean, there are some options you could, but he obviously wants to armor up every turn. He's been doing that every turn, so and he's going to want to save that 2 mana, I do believe.
I think it's especially important to be armoring up here as well, after I've just kill commanded you to 15
Yeah.
and then passed.
Yeah.
So also the fact that I thought about doing something afterwards may signal to him that I have a second kill command available.
Yeah.
So certainly the threat of lethal is in his mind.
Yeah.
But at the same time, how he puts together pieces of this puzzle to kill me is
Yeah.
something that needs to be in his mind
Yeah,
as well.
I mean, he has to go on the offensive at some point. He's had this Grommash in his hand for so long.
What now?
And I mean, at some point, he needs to start attacking your life. You know, he can't just wait around forever. But there are some hard decisions for him here. I mean, he's really thinking about the Grommash now. But he knows if he does the Grommash and activates it, he can't obviously armor up. But still, that would be 10 damage. Plus he has 6, so he could do 18 damage to you this turn, which is an awful lot. And I mean, I think that's going to be the play. At least you know, the Whirlwind on the Grommash. Of course, he's got to do that now that he's played it. It seems like it would be very surprising. And he is going to. He's actually going to trade that out. That makes sense. And then just going to attack the face. So he is going to use the weapon charge. That's something I was curious about if he's going to go for that or not. But I guess having the Fiery War Axe in hand makes that, you know, pretty straightforward play.
Yeah.
You're just wanting to get that weapon damage out. And now, I mean, you're forced into the situation where you have to get something done. And now the Hunter's Mark plus the Boar, you know, are you thinking that that's just basically you don't need to use the Deadly Shot yet, so you'll just save that? Or is this more just purely about buffing the Hyena?
I really don't feel a reason to play the Iron Beak Owl was
Okay.
really what it boiled down to. I only wanted to develop 1 extra minion this turn.
Yep.
And the Hunter's Mark's able to deal with this Grommash, which is a really huge turn for me. But I'm actually still feeling a little bit nervous about this because
Yeah.
I'm down to 8 life. The fact that he's put me at 8 using his Gorehowl
Yeah.
kind of indicates to me that Ragnaros may be in his
Yeah.
hand. So what
you
I'm
wanna
curious
save the Deadly
about is,
Shot for
do
that.
I need to overdevelop my board here? Because he also just used a Whirlwind, so I'm not as afraid of that. The question is, do I need to overdevelop my board here to prevent something like Ragnaros from happening?
Now, I mean, Baron Geddon would be an interesting play here, but it's kind of scary because that means that's buffing. Okay, so he's going to do probably Baron Geddon plus the Slam.
Right.
Because you can't leave that Hyena alive, you know, to get double buffed up by those Timberwolves dying. So it is going to be the Baron Geddon plus that Slam. So makes a lot of sense. Going to go clear the board here. Does put him at a pretty dangerous amount of HP. Puts you pretty dangerous at it as well. Okay, you really wanted the Huffer there, man, but not going to be able to get it. Deadly Shot, I mean, interesting. Okay, so we're just going to go Silence just to get that down, and then Deadly Shot. I mean, I guess you just want the damage on the board.
Yeah, still my same concern
knowing that you have the
again.
kill command.
That same concern again, developing, so that way Ragnaros, as I had initially read, has a much lower chance to kill me than it would have if I just have only the 1 minion on the board.
Now, he has the double shield slam. He has a Fiery War Axe, but also taking the damage from using that Fiery War Axe is pretty scary. So, you know, using the Azure Drake seems like a decent play if he's looking for some sort of a draw here. You know, maybe trying to hope and pray for Alex Straza or something for next turn.
Yeah, I like leading with Azure Drake a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
it
I
makes
think
most
the
sense.
Azure Drake makes sense because you can still Fiery War Axe and armor up, or armor up and double shield slam. There's still those plays available if you don't get something that you really like from the Azure Drake. So, I think that would be the play that he's probably going to make here. But a lot to consider. You know, it's such a tight game at this point. You can obviously Fiery War Axe and attack the face, set that up for lethal next turn, which I think would make a lot of sense. But Then if you armor up, you can't use both shield slams. You can only use one, and one minion's going to stay on the board. Plus, you know, there's a lot of there's a lot that goes into this.
Yeah, a lot of small nuances to consider on this turn. And
I'm guessing it should be just Drake, attack the face, armor up, and then shield slam the owl.
That feels like a very reasonable line to me, but I'm not sure if there's anything that he can reasonably play around if I do have something like that. So I really like this play a lot, and I think his major concern is how he prevents the most amount of damage happening. And since Unleash is a card I haven't played yet, I'm guessing that Unleash is his major concern.
Okay, so that explains, you know, not playing. There's no reason to play the Big Hunter sense.
Right.
Oh,
But instead, a
that's
huge
it.
top deck for 2 points of damage.
The beast.
Steady shot. Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, the Houndmaster comes out, busts
That
up
was
the owl.
totally skillful. It was like I definitely had that extra 2 points of damage. It didn't come from the right side of my hand.
That is a brutal top deck. But there's been a lot of that this turn.